and he's standing there with his shirt off, with his shorts on. There's not a man alive who doesn't want to be built like that. They all want to be built like that. Now, the mass and the striations and the vascularity.
This version of him did, but like this version definitely didn't.
Having trained with Manny Pacquiao had to be a huge asset for you.
But he's always bouncing, he's always moving around.
Yes.
Like, he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. You know, he'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down, and you know, he really is an unbelievable person, unbelievable athlete, and a legend of the sport. I think as time progresses, people are really gonna appreciate his.
In a recent conversation, Joe Rogan couldn't hold back his amazement when the topic shifted to Manny Pacquiao, zeroing in on those legendary calves and that impossibly shredded physique as anticipation.
To be able to have an opportunity like that to spar 250 rounds with one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he won world titles in what, 8 divisions?
8 divisions, 13 or
Crazy.
14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
And as much as you want to see records broken, and you know, I want to break records, that man is a one of one.
He's a one of one.
Yeah.
I mean, when he knocked down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power. It's that explosive speed, that explosive power, the footwork he gets in position. And all of a sudden he's landed 3, 4, 5 shots and then he's angled off. A lot like I did in my fight against Lopez. You know, a lot of that, sparring paid off, and it did shape me. And I know he did put out a tweet as well saying that I hope the sparring we did, helped you in this fight, and straight away.
That's amazing.
And I was so excited. He's a legend of the sport.
He is a legend, and he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. They're like a thigh.
Quietly builds around a potential second clash with Floyd Mayweather. But this wasn't just admiration. It felt like a warning of what could.
Different weight classes. Who the does that?
And the way he did it, like
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Cotto. I love this school, and the way that he beat Cotto, I didn't think nobody could ever do that to him. It was just like, bro, what the.
Well, his legs, Manny's legs are like tree trunks.
Yeah, and the
It's
hand
crazy.
speed, the power,
speed, everything.
I just always wish that the Mayweather Pacquiao.
Come. Rogan pointed out something deeper, something easy to overlook. The kind of conditioning Pacquiao carries into a fight isn't just impressive, it's dangerous.
He does his sparring, but then he's on the bag. He's on the shadow boxing. He's there doing the pad work. So that extra rounds just builds that conditioning and that stamina. And that's what I just found, that push more rounds. If the body can keep going, push more and more.
Especially if these two icons ever share the ring again. And here's where the story shifts, because that physique people marvel at isn't some lucky gift. It's the result of years of sacrifice, of
Why? Because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big. Because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger.
pushing limits most fighters would never touch. Behind the scenes, Pacquiao's routine tells a real story, one built on discipline and pain, where brutal early morning hill runs shape not just his body, but his identity as a fighter. Those climbs.
No excuses.
Times repeated endlessly, forged the explosive legs the world can't stop talking about, turning his calves into a symbol of endurance and his entire
pound, he can't be above Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was a flyweight champion. Not that he turned pro at flyweight. He was good enough as a flyweight to be the lineal champion, the real champion. Now, he didn't win titles in every division. He skipped some of these, but I just want to tell you how flyweight, junior bantam, junior feather, junior light, junior welter,
He's rapping
welter,
again.
junior middle.
He rolling.
And he laid waste to these divisions. Yeah. He fought great fighters. He never ducked anybody. Yeah. Pacquiao, to me, other than Sugar Ray Robinson, he's still one. Pacquiao is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter who ever lived. I can't put Floyd above him.
Yeah.
Any beef?
I agree with you on that. I mean, I've always had Manny Pacquiao above Floyd pound for pound.
Right.
And just in the history of boxing, you never heard of a guy that can go from those weight classes and still dominate. Knocking out Cotto, knocking out Ricky Hatton with one shot, destroying Oscar De La Hoya. Made him
their frame into a weapon. And when you connect the dots, it becomes clear. This isn't just about how he looks, it's about what he's capable of when everything is on the line. But the story doesn't stop.
Down Thurman in that fight, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old and still can crack and still as fast as lightning.
Yeah, the power that he possesses, but it's not a thumping power. It's that explosive speed, that explosive power, the footwork he gets in position. And all of a sudden he's landed 3, 4, 5 shots and then he's angled off. A lot like I did in my fight against Lopez. You know, a lot of that, sparring paid off and it did shape me. And I know he did put out a tweet as well, saying that I hope the sparring we did, helped you in this fight, and straight away.
That's amazing.
And I was so excited. He's a legend of the sport.
He is a legend, and he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. They're like a thigh.
With those brutal hill runs, it goes deeper into the grind that most never see, where Manny Pacquiao pushes himself through a relentless spectrum of training that feels almost unreal.
What, 8 divisions?
8 divisions, 13 or
Crazy.
14 world titles.
Crazy.
It will never be done again.
Crazy.
As much as you want to see records broken, and I want to break records, that man is a.
From punishing long-distance road work to explosive sprint intervals that test every fiber of his body, each session is crafted with precision, sharpening not just his stamina, but the kind of speed that catches opponents off guard before they...
One of a kind. And I would not bet, I wouldn't be shocked to see him do something that is very, very, could be, very unlikely that at 46 years of age.
Even react. And here's the twist. Despite never being the biggest man in a ring, Pacquiao...
Seen him in camp, and that they've seen something special. They've seen a 46-year-old that maybe they thought when camp started, hey, this is wrong. But it's Manny Pacquiao we're going to go along with and see how it looks. And then all of a sudden they say, oh my God, it's possible. Oh my God, Manny, you're starting to make me think maybe it's possible. I'm going to hope that he's got people around him of that ilk, of human beings, not just professionals, but human beings that have seen something to continue to go forward with this fight. Or if they didn't, would have said, you know what? No, I can't be part of this. So just on that alone, I'm gonna have hope for them. I'm gonna give them credit that they're thinking.
Has built himself into something far more intimidating, a presence forged through sheer intensity rather than size. It's the kind of transformation that makes even seasoned fighters take a step back. That's exactly what caught the attention of Joe Rogan, who didn't just admire him. He was genuinely stunned, calling Pacquiao's greatness almost unbelievable, especially when you look back at that moment against Keith Thurman. Because that wasn't just another win, it was a statement. In his 40s, standing across from a fighter in his absolute prime, Pacquiao didn't just compete, he conquered.
All right, man is always on the move. You understand me? What has happened in boxing is a lot of people have lost the art of footwork. You understand me? Not many people have footwork. So if you see a guy go out and box like you'll never see in today's time too often, a guy go out and box like Sugar Ray Leonard boxed Marvin Hagler.
Right.
He moved around, he fought when it was time, he moved when it was time. He understood how to use the whole ring to get a victory. Now guys don't do that. Pac-Man, fortunately, is one of those guys who knows how to use the ring. Nowadays, with how things go, and with Manny being who Manny is, if Manny can get to 12 rounds...
Expectations and reminding the world that legends don't fade quietly. They find new ways to shock you. Rogan didn't just marvel at the muscles. He shone a light on the finer art behind them.
Manny has one of the bigger outputs for any fighter of any era.
Right.
He's a guy that don't mind throwing 3 and 4 and 5 punches at a time. He's not one of those guys that won't throw 4 or 5 punches if he see it. That being said, the only concern I have is how
Manny Pacquiao's lightning speed, flawless timing, and decades of ring experience allowed him to defy youth and remain nothing short of extraordinary. It's a combination that turns every fight into a lesson in mastery, where every movement feels calculated yet effortless. And he's far from alone in that admiration. Teddy Atlas has long spoken with reverence about Pacquiao's place in boxing history, insisting that age alone cannot define greatness, especially not for a fighter whose career has rewritten expectations. But Atlas goes even further, emphasizing the invisible network that surrounds Pacquiao. Seasoned trainers, medical...
Manny Pacquiao special is that he does everything so good. He has great footwork, he has good ring IQ, good defensive slips, good combinations, and I think most importantly of all, he's in there willing to go to war with anybody. So that's really what makes him more important. The most special thing about him is his spirit and his will to fight. I think Manny Pacquiao at age 46 is going to look amazing in my opinion. He has all the experience in the world. He's seen every single fighter, and if he's coming back at 46, is because he definitely wants to come back and win another world title. I think that one of the oldest world champions has been Bernard Hopkins when he fought at age 49. So, Pacquiao is barely 46 right now. He's a young 46. So I think, he still has a lot.
Experts and former champions who monitor every step, every punch, every decision, ensuring that when he steps into the ring, it's because he's truly ready, not because of hubris or recklessness. In Atlas's eyes, that combination of talent, guidance, and experience doesn't just protect Pacquiao. It amplifies the legend, proving that greatness isn't measured in years, but in preparation, intelligence, and the courage to step up time and again. For Roy Jones Jr., respect is earned in the details, in fighters who study the game as if it's a language, not just a sport. And in Manny Pacquiao, he sees more than a champion. He sees a master of ring IQ, someone whose mind moves as fast as his fists. Because at this stage...
Did such a smart thing, but also a devious thing. Waiting until Pacquiao was older, waiting till he slowed down, and then...
Devious is not illegal in boxing.
It's encouraged.
Yeah. In any entrepreneurial sport, devious is not illegal.
No.
Devious can be an asset.
That's how you retire with a 50-0
I give
record.
Floyd credit for brilliance, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Floyd wasn't just a smart fighter. Floyd was a brilliant fighter. He was on his own level. And so much so, in any matchup between the great counterpuncher and the great attacker, that the counterpuncher has the advantage. He's got more options. He's got more ways of winning. The attacker has to break.
It's no longer about raw power alone. It's about the subtle orchestration of stamina, timing, and flawless execution. And in every step, every feint, every measured combination, Pacquiao continues to excel, proving that true greatness is as much mental as is physical. David Benavidez sees something rare in Manny Pacquiao, the embodiment of...
In the years before Mayweather-Pacquiao, people would run up to me on the street, run up to me in the shopping center in Vegas, run up to me in a hotel. When am I going to see Mayweather-Pacquiao? And I would say, well, we don't know, but what exactly is it you think you're going to see? Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be such a great fight. No, it's not going to be a great fight. It's going to be like watching somebody pluck the legs off a spider, all right? At a step-by-step method. And you're going to watch Mayweather pluck the legs off the spider that is Pacquiao, and it's going to be
a truly complete fighter. To him, it isn't just the speed, the explosive power, or the lightning-quick combinations. It's the way Pacquiao has built every element of his craft into a seamless whole. Footwork, defense, ring awareness, precision punching. He dominates across the board. Yet what captivates Benavidez most is the fire behind it all. Every step in the ring, every punch thrown, every grueling session in training carries intensity and intent, a passion that radiates through the camp itself, where discipline and high-level preparation.
Former opponents, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, 10 years after the fact. You're talking about running it back. What's your thoughts on that?
It should have happened a long time ago, obviously. I don't mind it because it'll be entertaining. I'm curious to see how Mayweather will react to Pacquiao's style again, you know? Mayweather's Mayweather. He has a great style, great defense, probably the same.
Meet relentless sparring. That combination, he says, is what keeps Pacquiao dangerous, even years into a storied career. Meanwhile, in a different corner of analysis, Jim Lampley frames the narrative from a strategic angle, describing it as a calculated move by Floyd Mayweather to wait before calling out Pacquiao earlier in his career. By allowing 11 years to pass before their next clash, Lampley explains, Mayweather preserved his peak physical condition while giving time for Pacquiao to age, tipping the scales subtly but meaningfully in his favor. In boxing, timing and age can shift the balance dramatically, and Lampley emphasizes that this tactic, waiting for an opponent to decline while staying sharp, is rarely discussed openly, yet is both.
The deal that both fighters have with Netflix is better than any other deal Netflix has done with any other boxer till today.
So let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about the purses. Can you share how much Manny and Floyd are making?
I can't share the exact number. But let's just say if you know what they're worth, and they know what they're worth, and they know the numbers they've done before. So if the numbers didn't make sense for either of them, they wouldn't have signed on the dotted line, and we wouldn't be where we are today.
Okay, I'll ask one more. Over or under 50 million each?
Over.
Okay, that's a good benchmark to work with.
Yeah.
The first fight was billed as the fight of the century, but it failed to live up to the massive expectations, right? Fans were left with a bad taste on. After the fight, Manny said he had a shoulder injury. There were some lawsuits involved. How can this fight be different 11 years later?
You know, it's very hard to explain this, but
clever and controversial. It's a quiet reminder that in this sport, every move outside the ring can be as calculated as the punches within it. Jim Lampley didn't hold back when discussing a potential rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, simply stating, Floyd is Floyd, a phrase that carries the weight of respect for a fighter whose ring intelligence, defensive mastery, and ability to control every moment remain unmatched. Lampley emphasized that even against a legend like Pacquiao, Mayweather's experience and tactical skill would likely secure him another victory, proving that in boxing, brilliance isn't just about power or speed. It's about precision, timing, and control. Meanwhile, Oscar de la Hoya weighed in, calling the rematch fascinating, and noting that while Pacquiao's speed, power, and elite skills remain impressive, Mayweather's defensive genius, adaptability, and fight IQ make him a formidable opponent even.
The record, Floyd currently has a record of 50-0. Remember, he retired at 50-0. It is possible he could go either 51-0 or now 50-1, or if it was a draw or whatever. But he's at least putting it up to be part of the professional record. Now, you might say, well, hasn't he been doing a lot of exhibitions since his retirement from boxing? And the answer is yes, about 8 of them or so. I believe he's got, by the way, a 9th coming up in April in the Democratic Republic of the Congo against, of all people, Mike Tyson. Also, just as a fresh reminder, the first fight, I didn't hate it, but a lot of people did. And remember, you'll recall Manny Pacquiao, after the fight was over, blamed his performance on his shoulder. But there was pretty widespread disappointment with just how big the fight was and then how little it delivered. Not necessarily to hardcore fans, although some of that too, but definitely to casual fans who were expecting a little bit more rock.
Years later, De La Hoya added that Floyd's methodical, tactical approach often gives him the edge, suggesting that while anything could happen, the odds still tilt toward the veteran. Behind the scenes, the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions shut down critics questioning the bout, emphasizing that both fighters fully understand their legendary status and the massive Netflix-backed purse at stake. This isn't just a business decision. It's a legitimate contest of skill, speed, and strategy, with both athletes training to peak physical condition, promising fans an epic, well-earned showdown. Adding further perspective, Luke Thomas highlighted that the fight will officially count on Mayweather's professional record. Unlike the exhibitions he's done since retiring undefeated at 50-0, giving him the chance to extend the streak to 51-0, risk a rare loss, or even see a draw. Reflecting on their first fight, which underdelivered for many fans due to Pacquiao's shoulder injury, Thomas stressed that this
guy that's had his downs, he's had his ups and his downs, and he always smiling and always friendly to people. It's like he's so admirable just as a human being.
And it shows too that defeats, I love how the UFC is, losses are losses.
Yeah.
Boxing has this stereotype where the zero is so important. I'm undefeated, but would you rather see the best fight and the best? Right. You're going to get competitive fights and great fights. But unfortunately, in boxing, it's not like that.
Well, the biggest draw in the sport is Canelo, and Canelo's not undefeated.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's one way of looking at it.
Official rematch offers both fighters a real opportunity to leave a definitive mark on boxing history, reigniting excitement and expectation worldwide. The rematch between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather is far more than just another fight. It's a collision of skill, legacy, and history. A moment where two eras meet inside the ring. Both men, legends in their own right, carry decades of experience, unmatched talent, and a relentless competitive spirit that commands attention the moment they step forward. Pacquiao's shredded, rock-solid physique, combined with explosive speed, tells a story of years of grueling training and unyielding discipline, each punch a testament to preparation. Mayweather, on the other hand, embodies defensive mastery, tactical brilliance, and the aura of an undefeated champion, a strategist whose every move is calculated to control the fight. And now, with the bout officially counting toward Mayweather's professional record, the stakes are higher than any exhibition, infusing each round with drama and undeniable significance. Fans, critics, and analysts alike are glued to every detail, debating who will ultimately emerge victorious in this clash of titans. Amplified by a massive platform like Netflix, the matchup promises not only enormous financial rewards, but also the chance to settle unfinished business, to rewrite the narrative of their legacies. In every sense, this fight reaffirms why Pacquiao and Mayweather aren't just competitors, they are icons, whose names will resonate through boxing history long after the final bell rings.